You when it more you travel as a woman, the more undateable you are. And usually people talk about this when it comes to education because they're like the more educated a woman is, the less likely she is able to find a partner.
The bigger the lie, the more they believe.
Welcome back, Motivation Nation. It is your host, Eric Gordon, and we're back here for another one. This lady said that if a woman who travels a lot is undateable. Let's let her get into this and explain to us what she's talking about.
Impress you when it more you travel as a woman, the more undateable you are. And usually people talk about this when it comes to education because they're like the more educated a woman is, the less likely she is able to find a partner. However, I think this also holds true for.
I got to stop right there. That's just absolutely not true. That's just absolutely not the truth. I mean, there are educated people that are males and females, and just because you're educated does not make that less likely to find somebody. That's just nonsense. But let me let her go on because she's already starting off on the wrong foot.
Firstly, men want to impress you when it comes to dating. So they're going to try to take you to a nice restaurant. They're going to try to give you a nice experience because they want to show that they are an impressive person. However, if you're someone who has snorkeled in the Galapagos and then watched a surf competition in Tahiti and then went horseback riding on the beach, and then you also have skied in the Swiss Alps, and you have also, gone to safari to watch the wildlife migration, like you are very difficult to impress. On top of that, you likely have a
Okay, let's stop right there. Okay, because I can't just let her go on with this. A person that a guy that's actually trying to get to know you for something beyond something physical, he's not necessarily trying to get to know you, and he's not trying to impress you right off the muscle. He's trying to meet you, and he wants to get to know you as a person. He's not trying to meet you to impress you. The only type of person that's trying to meet you and trying to impress you right off the muscle is somebody who's trying to get in and get out. But a guy that's actually interested in you and he likes you and he wants to get to know more about you, he's interested in getting to know you as a person. And the places that you've traveled and all of those things, those are interesting topics to talk about as he's getting to know you. But that's not intimidating for that man if he hasn't traveled as much as you have traveled, because it's going to boil down to what are your morals, what are your goals, and what it is that you both are trying to achieve in life. All of the traveling and stuff, those are past experiences that broaden your horizons and give you different experiences and exposes you to different things and makes you into a better, or I'm not going to say better, but a different kind of a person because of the things that you've seen. But that doesn't make a person intimidated, because there's a multitude of people that have been in the military that have traveled all around the world. So, and people who are not in the military that's traveled all around the world. How does that make you undateable? I guess that's the point. I don't understand how this makes you undateable, but let me let her go on.
Skill set because you can likely navigate a metro in a foreign country. You can understand people even if you don't know the language. You probably even know if danger is around even if you don't know the language. And you have a completely and totally different perception of the world than the average person, especially someone who's never left the US. Their world is this big and their problems are this big, but they think it is this big. Whereas the world is this big and your problems are this big. So you live life completely and totally differently, knowing that there are other things going on in the other world and you're not the center of the universe. Just because.
So you think that in order for people to know how big the world is, that they have to have traveled outside of the US? That's your argument. This makes logical sense. No, you're not undateable because you've traveled a lot. Your issues are coming with your logic and your reasoning, and you need to humble yourself a bit, because I can already see that you're going into a lot of these situations thinking that you're better than someone, all because you may have traveled more than them. That's great and all, but what are your core values and what are you actually bringing to the table? And how are you in a relationship? And it seems to me that you've traveled to all of these places. The world is so big and all of this is going on. You've met so many different people from so many different places, but yet you're still undateable. You're still single. I would think that because you've been outside the US and you've been exposed to far more men than the average lady who has not been outside the US, then your pool is quadruple. I can't even come up with an infinite amount more of opportunities to meet men of all different backgrounds, but yet you're still single. Now, what does that tell you? The problem is you. It's you. But anyway, let me let her finish. Then we'll give our closing thoughts on what she's saying here.
Meet a man that is well traveled doesn't mean that you guys are actually a personality match or that you would actually go well together, because he could very likely be just as insufferable as every other man. So overall, you just have a smaller pool of people to actually choose from that you would even be interested in the first place. The more you travel.
Again, her problem is she's illogical. What she just said makes no sense. So now if you meet a man who's traveled as much as you, he can be just as insufferable as a person who has not traveled at all. Do you see how what she just said makes no sense? The problem, ma'am, is you. The problem is you don't have any direction. You don't know what it is that you want. And you want to walk into a scenario and you want to think that you're standing over people, and people don't like that. You're not going to meet a man who or anybody for that matter, who's just going to allow you to try and make them feel smaller than you just because you booked a plane ticket and traveled, as if other people can't book a plane ticket and travel if that's what they want to do. No, ma'am, that's just something that you want to do. And just because that's something that you want to do doesn't make someone who doesn't necessarily want to travel as much as you less of a person than you, because everybody can get online and book a plane ticket to anywhere they want to go in the world and get a passport. I mean, it's really not, listen, before the prices of fuel went up, it really wasn't that expensive to go abroad. Let's just be honest here. It just boils down if that's something an individual wants to do or not want to do. So, I mean, stop it with this. You traveled around the world and you think you're special. There's nothing special about what you did, booking a ticket, sitting on the plane, and getting off. There's nothing special about that, man. You need to humble yourself. Humble yourself first and foremost. If you're serious about finding a man, you got to be humble in the dating process. And that's a lot of the problem nowadays. A lot of people just aren't humble. They think that they're better than people. And then when they find out that these people are not willing to deal with their arrogance, then they're offended because no one wants to deal with your arrogance. Humble yourself. Know what it is that you're looking for. Know thyself. And then you'll be able to find you someone and be able to let your relationship grow organically. But anyway, man, I'm not going to belabor the point. You guys saw what I saw. You heard what I heard. I mean, do you guys think just because a woman has traveled, she becomes undateable? Because what she said here makes no logical sense, because she says she can meet a man that's traveled just as much as her, and that don't mean he's dateable either. So I don't know what she's saying. But what I do know is she needs to humble herself if she thinks she has any chance of finding a man. But anyway, y'all saw what I saw. Y'all heard what I heard. I need y'all to jump down in the comments and let me know what you guys think about what you just saw here. But that's it for this video. See you guys in the next one. I'm out.